Well, it's 4 o'clock now. It's I've just had a shower. I've been out. I've been walking and I've been cutting grass. And I was out in the garden, so I was getting a bit hot and sweat. And yeah, and you were just in my tracksuit and t-shirt, sweatshirt, as you can see from my last video on healthy plants. So I just thought, no, I've got to have a shower. Can't tolerate it any longer. Mummy's at work. She went off to work today at lunchtime, so and I'll be picking her up around 8:30 time tonight. So Roxy's gone out, Mikey's upstairs, Louis around somewhere, and I'm waiting for the football. Well, there's football on now. Aston Villa are playing at the moment against Crystal Palace, but I'm waiting for the London derby between Tottenham and Arsenal. That should be the big game of today, and it's going to be an interesting one. That both teams are not playing as well as they could be at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see who will come out tops in this one. Difficult to call, actually, quite honestly. Difficult to call. The game earlier today was Wolves against Everton. That was a good win for Wolves, who were beaten recently by Sheffield United. And yeah, I wanted to talk about the manager of the year, of who do we think it should be. Should it be the manager of Liverpool, Mr. Klopp, or should it be somebody else? And I think, personally, although Klopp has done a good job at Liverpool, we've got to remember it's Liverpool. You know, Liverpool are a good team, steeped in history with lots of expensive players there already. The problem with Liverpool over the last 30 years as to why they weren't winning very much is not so much they didn't have any good players. They had some outstanding players, as it so happened. It wasn't so much they didn't have any good players, they just weren't playing well as a team, and there were other teams that were better at playing as teams, and that's really all there is to it, in my view. You know, it's not about they've got the best 11 players on the field as individuals. They've got a good team ethos, and Klopp has brought the good team ethos to the team. Yeah, he has brought a couple of good players in as well, and he's brought up a few youngsters, given them a chance. And he's done all the right things. He's got to know Liverpool. He's got to know what the fans like. He's done all the right things as a manager in taking Liverpool forward, which a lot of the previous managers didn't really do. They just looked at money, and they just looked at throwing money to get more players. Because let's be honest, you have to put money in. You have to have deep pockets these days to run a football club in the Premiership, and that's what a lot of these clubs do. It's exactly what's gone wrong recently, more recently, with Manchester United over the last 4 or 5 years. They've, you know, from Alex Ferguson going, they lost their way as a team. They became individuals. They started wanting to look after themselves in every possible way, and the managers that came in also. So they're a good team as a club, and as individuals they're good players now. They just need that link of teamwork, which they're starting to get back now, Manchester United. But getting back to the manager, is Klopp deserving the role of manager of the year if he gets it? I don't think he is, personally. I don't think he although he's done a great job and he's a great guy and he's the right man for Liverpool, I've got no doubt about that. And he hasn't really had to put a foot wrong, at all in the last couple of years. He's been there. He's done it. He's done it right. He's also a likable guy. He's a likable character for the media. The media tend to like him as well. He knows how to play the media. So it's all good in that respect. Is he a better tactician than Guardiola? No, I wouldn't say he's better. He's Guardiola's an excellent. He got an excellent record in his other clubs he's been at as well. More so than Klopp. I mean, Klopp's history in Germany has not been anywhere near as good as Guardiola before he came to Liverpool. So Liverpool is what's made Klopp in every possible way, and it just needed someone to come in and fine tune people and make the people a team in many respects. So he's done that well. Guardiola has taken other teams to the heights, as well as, not just Manchester City. He has taken other teams to the heights. He's still got to win the championship for Manchester City, the as far as the European silverware goes. But I've got to say, if I'm going to talk about manager of the year, I've got to give it to our man here in Sheffield, Chris Wilder. And I'm looking at it objectively now. I'm trying to look at it I mean, obviously, Ollie doesn't deserve it at Manchester United. He hasn't done enough for a club like that. He's getting there, and he's doing a good job. Frank Lampard hasn't done enough. Our friend at Leicester hasn't done enough. The guy at Wolves hasn't. They're all good managers, but they haven't done enough in my view. Whereas our man in Sheffield has done a superb job. I mean, I was talking about him before Sheffield kicked a ball in the Premiership at the beginning of the season. In fact, it was last summer. I was saying to my kids and grandkids, Sheffield United are going to be there. They're going to be there, and they're going to be there because they have a good manager. And I was saying it before a ball was kicked in Sheffield in the Premiership, because I'd seen his record already. I saw exactly what he did in Northampton Town. I mean, Northampton Town was where I was born and where my sister goes. And when he was manager there, only for a short period of time, he got them out of difficulty when they were about to be relegated, and he then took them up. That's what he did in Northampton within a very short period of time. Northampton are a disaster as a team, and have been. They've got if you want to have a consistent history of being a disaster, you should support Northampton Town, because they have been a disaster. But what got me onto Chris Wilder, suddenly Northampton were doing well, and I thought, what the hell's going on here? And it was, who's the manager? And it was through understanding what Chris Wilder was all about then. And then when he left Northampton, well, it was about 2014, 2015, was it? I don't know. Can't remember the year. It was around that time frame. He went into he joined Sheffield United. Sheffield United was his boyhood team, his dream team for him. He played for them a couple of times, and he played in the lower leagues as well. And in Sheffield is his town. It's his team. And he was made manager of the team. They weren't in Premiership League. They weren't in Championship. They were in the First Division. Towards the bottom of the First Division when he took on the job. And you've got to think where he's taken them. He took them from, in sort of 3 years, he's taken Sheffield United from the First Division, which they got through and won, into the Championship. Through the Championship they got through and won into the Premiership. And look what he's now doing in the Premiership. And so there's a man who's got a proven history of taking a team of players from 2 tiers below where they are now, all the way through. He's also put a team in the top 8 of the Premiership who have got there's no superstars in that team. There's no prima donnas. These are all players that have to work hard, and they get really. He gives them a hard time if they don't work hard and do it. He drops them. He puts a lot of pressure on them. But he has the whole team working for each other, working as a team. Apart from his tactical ability of understanding football, and the ability to play the game to win, he's got a good understanding with individuals. He's got a good understanding of what's required, and he likes, he knows how to get the best out of individuals as well. So as much as I think Klopp's a good guy and Guardiola's a great tactician and had some fantastic jobs, I think Wilder deserves the job of manager of the year, because he's just proven that you don't need to have superstars, prima donnas being paid multi-million pound salaries. Put a team of guys that were playing a tier below only a year ago, and look what they're doing. They're beating Chelsea, they're beating Tottenham, they're beating, they're beating all the top teams. Yeah, they have a rough patch now and then, but they play exceptionally well. It's a club which has got a lot of history. Now, if they get into playing European football, that's going to be the first time in their history of 130 years. So forget about Liverpool, that haven't won anything for 30 years until they're winning the Premiership, as it were. Here's Sheffield United, who haven't won anything for 130 years in terms of Europe, and now they're going in potentially for a European place, and I think they'll get there. That's my view. Not because I'm sitting here next to Sheffield. I'm looking at it objectively. I'd like to think Manchester United had the man for the job, but I'm honest. I think Manchester United will be the team to beat next season. I firmly believe that. I believe they've got a strike force now with great intent. Great intent. I think they've got a better strike force than Liverpool or Manchester City. I think what lets them down a little bit still is a few areas in midfield, not that they can sort out, but their defence, which is my biggest concern with Manchester United, and particularly their goalkeeper. So there is some work for Ollie to do in that area, but I think he's getting there. They're playing much better football now than what they were playing 6 months ago and 12 months ago. I'm afraid the other teams that should be up there, the Arsenals and the Tottenhams, well, Tottenham have gone off the, I've got to say, our friend Mourinho, he's I don't know if he's lost his magic. He'll keep on talking about his record of what he's won and how, and yes, he has. He's taken clubs to championships and European championships all over Europe. Yeah, I know he's done all that, but that's all in the past. It's what you're going to do today, going forward, that's important. And he's proven over the last few years that he's not up to it. He can't cut it. He hasn't been able to finish the job properly in Chelsea. He had a disaster at Manchester United, and it doesn't look like it's going very well at Tottenham. I think it's going to be difficult for him if he doesn't get it right in Tottenham. Who's going to want him? I think that's going to be a problem for him. I think it's all about him. In his particular makeup. It's no problem being all about him if he can get his team to play as a team. But he seems to... something goes wrong with the team. They become unhappy. They become miserable. They start playing as individuals. The magic has gone. Tottenham were getting a magic together when the previous manager, that young manager they had there, it was a mistake to get rid of him, in my view. Yeah, he had a bit of a bad run, but I think he generally was getting it right, and I think the owners should have given him more time. I think they've made a big mistake, and Mourinho in there, well, you see, no one can tell Mourinho anything. He'll do it his way and his way only, unfortunately. Whereas the likes of other managers, they will look at themselves and be critical of themselves and try and work out the issues with others and get others in to help them if they can. Klopp does. I know Guardiola does. Ollie does, and I know they all do, really, other than Mourinho. Anyway, that's my take on football. Talk to you again soon. Bye bye.